Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the player ratings. Everton 2, Ipswich Town 2. A disappointing afternoon at Goodison Park. I feel quite flat after that game, I must admit. I feel quite flat because of it. Another game that we should have won and we haven't. 2-0 up. It seems a long time since we won a game at Goodison Park now, and we haven't won that many of late. I know it's not that many defeats, but it still makes you come away from games like that. And I probably feel so flat because of all of what happened, pre-match and obviously the build up to the game. And the amazing display the 1878 have done, and all the fans have obviously played their part in it. And I don't know how you can't feel a little bit flat. I know. Listen, not everyone will feel the same. For them, not everyone will feel the same. And I just thought it was disappointing that a day when it was a lot of people's last games at Goodison Park and the last ever 3:00 kickoff. I felt really almost sad at the end that that's how it finished. Listen, in the grand scheme of things, does it really matter? Have we learned anything? Well, maybe we have learned some things. Maybe we've learned some things about some of those players. Maybe we've learned that players that maybe we thought were good enough or whatever aren't good enough. I don't know. But yeah, it just made me feel flat. I don't know. As I said, it's nothing too much, nothing to worry about in terms of does it really matter if we finish in 13th or doesn't matter if 17th? Well, it'd look better. I just don't want the season to go out on a whimper when really we should be going out on a bit of a high because it's the last season at Goodison Park, really. But I just thought we were so poor today in the second half. Really, really so poor in the second half. It just wasn't good enough at all. We were so passive. And I always felt like there was going to be would be one moment. I felt like, they're going to get one chance and they're going to take it. Their first goal was incredible. But at the same time, if you stand off and give really, really good players opportunities to strike the ball in the Premier League, like they did, you could say similar maybe for Dwight McNeil, but you allow someone to just have 5 yards to shoot. If you allow someone at the back post to out jump you and never get off your feet, then what do you expect? Just thought the second half was, well, I thought probably about 35 minutes onwards, it was rubbish. So let's get into it anyway. Jordan Pickford, don't think he could have done too much. Thought the first goal was a wonder goal, and the second goal was one of those classic stand up at the back post, and your centre back should really deal with it. So, and it's so close to him, unless you are a big goalkeeper, then yeah, I don't think there's much he could do. So didn't have to make any big saves or anything really. So I'd give Jordan 6.8 for today's performance. Nathan Patterson played 82 minutes, 1 clearance, 3 tackles, 1 interception, dribble pass once, won 5 of his 10 ground duels, didn't win either of his aerial duels. Accurate passes, 81%. Key passes 2. Crosses 2 out of 6. Not bad. Listen, I don't know. It's again only his second appearance. For me, it's his positioning. I think it's always been his positioning for me. I am not encouraged by what I'm seeing. I'll just say that. I'm not encouraged by what I'm seeing at all. I think, don't get me wrong, I think he's the kind of fullback who wants to get forward, and I think we'd really benefit from the centre-back being a faster centre-back getting over there, but also a midfielder who can cover the ground to help him out as well. And I just don't think we've got that at the moment. But I'm not really encouraged, I must admit, by what I'm seeing. I'm not writing him off, but I'm just not encouraged by it at all. Um, it's a difficult process, I imagine, because it's only his second game playing at right back. You can just see heat map there. It is predominantly in the opposition half, but against a team like Ipswich, it should be. And then you can see on the edge of the box there is crossing. Yeah, as I said, I'm not massively encouraged, and it's gonna take much tighter performances from him. Just the basics, doing the basics a little bit better. Um, he'll probably, you'd imagine he will play the remaining games of the season unless David Moyes decides otherwise. But you would imagine he will play him. He's getting an opportunity to prove himself. But yeah, I think there's a lot of work to do. Lot of work to do. So I would give him a 6.2 for today. Vitaly Michalenko on the other side. The way we played today was weird because it didn't seem like we didn't have that much natural width, certainly on the left-hand side. Carlos Alcaraz was playing tucked in Jai, and then obviously Dwight McNeil, and it felt like there's a lot more space for the fullbacks to get forward, which I don't really think they utilised that much. Ground duels 1 out of 1, 2 out of 2 aerial duels for Vitaly Michalenko. Again, he's got forward, and you can see it in his heat map here. He's got forward. But again, what I will say is, second game in a row, a big goal has come from a cross from down his side. I'm not saying he had a bad game, but it's a big cross that's come from down his side. Man City, and now, sorry, 2 home games in a row. Man City, and now this one. I don't think as a, certainly without Tarkowski, I don't think defensively we're aggressive enough. And maybe that's just because it's the time of the year, the end of the season. But I just don't think we're aggressive enough. And I think we've allowed far too many easy balls into the box, and players are sitting off the too easy, and we're not blocking stuff, and we're not getting as I said, we're not getting blocks in, and we're not stopping crosses, and we're standing off. Last week's goal, the City goals, these 2 goals, we're standing off people. So Michalenko, I'd give a 6.5 for today. Jake O'Brien, I think he has to do so much better with that second goal. He gets out jumped by. I was actually more worried about George Ayres coming on than I was about Delap, actually. He got into a little thing with Delap early on. I think he should have just left it alone, even though Delap should have been sent off a couple of minutes later. That stop him with the yellow card. Does that stop his ability to be a little bit more aggressive? I don't know. He's won 4 out of 6 ground duels. He hasn't won any aerial duels, by the way. Jake O'Brien today. That's very, very strange that a lad of his height isn't winning any aerial duels. But I think for the goal, I think it's so poor for the goal. I really do. The ball stood up to the back post, and if he doesn't even get off his feet. He does not jump at all. He's caught underneath it, and Hirsch just gets above him and heads it in. And it's so poor. Really is. And I think that they're the moments you've got to be strong in. I think they're the moments from like James Tarkowski, make sure the lad just doesn't even jump. Just make sure that he puts himself in the way. And I thought that was really, really poor from him today. He's cost us a goal, in my opinion. So Jake O'Brien, I'd give a 5. Jared Brandtwaite, again, he gets into it a little bit in the second half, almost trying to show. Are they trying to show a little bit too much? I don't know. That he won't be bullied. But 3 out of 3 ground duels, 3 out of 5 aerial duels. Again, just trying to be the leader back there, I suppose. But you can see that whole back four without Tarkowski look like they do lack a little bit of aggression, and they do lack a little bit of leadership. So don't think Jared did too much wrong today, but I just think as a unit, it's not as strong. It is not as strong and a little bit passive. Jared, I'd give a 6.82 for today's performance. Jisagana Gay, I think just trying to make things happen today. His heat map's dead interesting. It's all along the halfway line where he was picking up the ball from the centre backs or picking up the ball when we were going wide and we weren't going anywhere, and he was trying to use it. 61 pass accurate, 61 passes, 53, 87% pass accuracy. A lot of side to side stuff today, without being able to penetrate. Yeah, he didn't really do anything, if I'm honest. It wasn't a game where he had to go hunting for the ball because I thought we were a little bit open in midfield as a unit as well, without the core, oddly enough. I know a lot of people, you could see we were a little bit more open because of the way we played, because we didn't have the legs of the Corey in there, so we were a little bit open and they had a lot more time on the ball, it felt like. And again, that's something about being aggressive and pressing. Didn't think the pressing was very good today at all. Sorry, that's James Garner's heat map that you can see there now. Which again is all sort of in the centre of the park without actually going anywhere. So I just said I would give a 6.7. James Garner. I thought James Garner had a decent first half, and then second half he just nothing at all. But again, decent first half, but the goal, he just stands off. The midfield just stand off. 94% pass accuracy, one key pass. Ground duels won 6 out of 8 from that side of things. Yeah, good. But the way we play today, I just think we need midfielders I think we need one midfielder who's really can get round the pitch. And I think that's why the manager likes Decore. I think we need a midfielder who can get round the pitch and go both ways. We have too many plays that you can just pigeonhole in. He does this, he does that, he does this. How about a couple of midfielders who can do everything? How about midfielders who can get round the pitch, who can score goals, who can tackle, who can defend? How about 2 of them? Because at the moment we just have this midfielder does that, and this midfielder does that, and this midfielder does that, and none of them really. I mean, don't get me wrong, Gisagana Gay's been brilliant this season, but obviously you'd think going into next season, if he stays at Everton, it'll be diminishing returns. We need midfielders who can do a bit of everything, because that's what top midfielders can do now. If you look at Newcastle's midfield, if you look at like someone like Tielemans at Villa, you can do a bit of everything. And these are players who aren't even playing for the top sides. These are players who are playing for, the teams that are trying to get in the Champions League. We need fit midfielders like that. Even like Forest, is it Anderson? And they've got players who can do a bit of everything. And I think Garner can do a little bit of something, or both Garners can do a little bit of something, and Decore can do a little bit of something, and even Alcaraz today shown he can do a little bit of something. But they need to do everything. They need to be all well-rounded midfielders, and I just don't think we've got that. So James Garner, I would give a 6.6 for today. As I said, did all right in the first half and then non-entity in the second half, to the point where sometimes you can't even remember what they've done, if they've done anything. Carlos Alcaraz, sort of inside left channel today. Again, did all right without doing loads. Good crossing for the first goal. Obviously cutting back onto his right foot, and that's what hopefully we were looking for today, was more crosses. And we did put quite a lot of crosses in, generally coming inside rather than going, obviously Dwight on the left and Carlos Alcaraz on the left and Dwight on the right. He did all right again. I'd like to see him central. I'd like to see him get in there and pick up the ball and run with it and get involved a little bit more. At times he's on the periphery of the game because he's playing a little bit in the wide areas rather than not fully wide, more of like tucked in the way we play today. But listen, he did all right. He hasn't sort of wowed me. And look who we're playing against. I mean, I think that has to be like the caveat as well, who we're playing against. and what the game is. The game is a nothing game where they've already been relegated, and it's about who can grab hold of the game by the scruff of the neck. And that's what really disappointed me today, was nobody grabbed hold of the game by the scruff of the neck and said, I'm gonna run this game. I want it, I demand it, I want it all the time. I don't think any of the three behind Better have really done that today. I think that disappointed me as well. So I can understand why the manager's maybe in two minds of whether he keeps Alcaraz. Is he picking up? Is he grabbing the game? Is he grabbing hold of the game? And as I said, you've got to put this in terms of who we're playing today. If you're playing top sides and players are struggling, you go fine. But where's the intensity today? That's what annoyed me today. Where was the intensity? Where was the intensity in the second half when the fans just want something at 2-1 to just see, make sure they've had a really good day. So yeah, listen, Alcaraz did all right. Don't get me wrong, but he certainly wasn't like amazing. He did all right. He might have been one of our better players, but let's not kid ourselves here. Let's not kid ourselves. We were playing against a very, very poor side, and we've created, certainly in the second half, very, very little, very, very little. So Charlie Alcaraz, I would give a 7-2. Why not? Dwight McNeil, obviously playing on the right-hand side. I thought he might have started him on the left and got some crosses into the box. Obviously scored a really, really good goal. Really good goal. And that's what, again, he's coming inside, and maybe the manager. I have no real issue with him playing on the right, because when he plays centrally, he likes picking up that pocket on the right-hand side so he can come in and shoot from that area. When he plays on the left, it's going to be always about crosses and where he can get him in. At least when he plays on the right, if you can find that pocket of space that he like picking up when he was playing in the central area. And as you can see from the heat map there, he is picking up that pocket, really. You can see where that red hotspot is there. He's picking up the ball and he's coming most of the time inside with it, and that's where the goal comes from. So I think it was a typical Dwight McNeil performance. He scored a really good goal, put a couple of really, really good crosses in to the back post in the second half, which the first one come in and first one came in and Jai just missed it. And then the second one, two of them went for it. And then I think he might have put another one in and it's gone. It's all in the same area, really. It's poor from the players that no one's got on the end of one, and when he's putting the ball into the same area. So it'll be interesting to see what the manager does, whether he continues to play him in that position. But he scored a really good goal and he's put a couple of really good crosses in the second half. It was a decent, for his first start in 5 months. It's a good performance from Dwight McNeil as well. So I would give Dwight McNeil a 7.3 for today's performance. Illiman and Jai playing a bit more all over the place, bit on the right, bit on the left, bit down the centre. You can see his heat map there. Sort of finding, just floating into the spaces more than anything. But three dribbles, 2 successful. But again, hasn't really conjured up anything. Hasn't really been able to deliver anything, sadly. Hasn't been able to use one of those runs to really open Ipswich up. And again, that's what I thought was disappointing today, that we really couldn't open. We scored 2 goals, yes, but then the second half, we couldn't open Ipswich up. Like, I know that's been our problem all season, and that's something that we were... obviously, we've been really worried about, has been scoring goals and the ability. It's not just scoring goals, it's the ability to create chances that we've been so lacking in this season. And what today again, one's come from a cross and one's come from a fantastic shot from outside the box. But we don't create too many clear-cut opportunities. Second half, we haven't created that many real good opportunities, and that's the real problem with this team. And it's actually amazing that we are so far away points-wise from the bottom three when you look at the amount of goals that we scored this season. Like, don't get me wrong, we deserve to be away from the bottom three, but to be so far away from the bottom three when we haven't scored a whole lot of more goals than them, it comes down to obviously the defensive record of the team. And that's had to be opened up a little bit since David Moyes come in to try and score more goals, because we were doing well defensively under Sean Dyche, but we weren't scoring any goals. So we've had to be a little bit more open. But unfortunately, it has cost us a few times. And, you know, twice under Moyes is that we've been 2-0 up and at home and let it slip. So Njai, yeah, he was on the fringes, but he never really did anything. Never really created much. Just as I said, little moments, and I expect them to be dominating these games. I really do. I expect them to be dominating a game like this in more of a favoured position where he can go wherever he wants. Maybe he's just not ready for that. Maybe he's just not ready for that being allowed to float wherever he wants. Maybe he needs to be playing in a position where he knows what he has to do in that position. So I'd give him a 6 for today. Beto took his goal really well. Obviously, he played 77 minutes. Great to see him back on the scoring again, putting crosses into him. But it was a really good run. It was a really good header from him. I think we tried to use him a lot better today in the areas. And it's great. You can look at his heat map. It's red, exactly where it should be, around the penalty area, which means he was getting into probably good areas, but we just weren't giving him the service. As I said, he took his goal really, really well. His hold-up play is still all over the place, has to be said. It is all over the place. 2 shots on target, 3 shots off target, which he's creating, he's getting opportunities. Little overhead kick in there as well, but just the 1 goal from him. And again, he sort of, as the game went on, he just maybe should have gone off a little bit earlier. I'm not sure, but he sort of become less and less effective as the game come on, or we weren't putting the ball into the right areas to him. So Beto, I'll give a 7 for today's performance. The subs, again, the subs weren't. I know 2 or 3 of them, but they were all sort of late subs, weren't they? They were all late subs, and again, did they unbalance the team? Did they? I'm not saying they would cost us anything, but obviously Dominic Calvert-Lewin came on for Beto. I think he won his first header and then won a foul, but in front of goal really didn't do anything. 1 shot off target, 75% pass accuracy, won 1 out of 2 ground duels and 1 out of 2 aerial duels. Yeah, you could tell very, very raw from obviously not playing for a while. Manager obviously wanted to get him on, get some game time in the legs, but couldn't really do anything. So I'd give him a 6. Jack Harrison, sadly was on the pitch when, he was on the pitch when they scored. He actually covered Patterson's position really well when Patterson went down. I still don't think it was a foul, really. A lot of people were screaming blue murder for that. I thought Patterson didn't have to go down, and once he went down and stayed down, it was almost like a bit of embarrassment. But Harrison did get back and cover his position, so we can't use that as an excuse, really. Okay, people can scream and shout that it should have been a foul. I'm not sure it was a foul, personally. We got back, but again, he had a couple of moments of trying to create, but it's all coming back onto your left foot on the right-hand side. And because he doesn't do things quick enough, because he's not got a lot of pace, then it doesn't really work. So he didn't really offer too much when he came on. So again, Jack Harrison, I give a 6. Ashley Young came on. One as a foul later on, again, showing maybe Patterson how you do win fouls, but We didn't do anything from the set piece, sadly. I I think the manager would play Ashley Young. Personally, I think he'd start Ashley Young at right back, but I think he's almost playing to the crowd a little bit with Nathan Patterson. I really think he would just think, we need a leader back there. We need someone. But the manager's probably also thinking, well, it doesn't really matter. I'm getting to see these players. They can't hide. I'm getting to see. The only pressure on them is the pressure of playing at Goodison Park and getting results. But, yeah. Ashley Young was fine. 6.2. And then Tim Boonham and Yusuf Chamiti came on, and to be honest, they were both on the pitch for about 2 minutes and didn't really do anything, to be honest. Tim Boonham touched the ball about 3 times. So I won't be giving either of them a score because they just weren't on the pitch long enough to do anything. But the manager was just giving them an opportunity to get on the pitch. But to freshen things up. But sadly, we really couldn't really do anything, sadly. Yeah, it's just disappointing, as I said at the very, very start. I'm a bit flat from it, to be honest. I just expected the players to just give a little bit more than they did, to be a little bit tighter, to be a little bit stronger. I don't care if we're safe. I don't care. The fans put a lot of hard work in today. The 1878 put a lot of hard work in today. A lot of people's last game. And I just thought the second half was so poor. First half of 40 minutes was great till the lads' goals were early. But the second half, I just thought we were rubbish. I thought we were really, really poor. And we'll see what happens. But we really need so many players for this squad, or certainly in the right places. We really need talent injected into this squad in all the right positions. We've got maybe enough players that it means we've got a decent little squad if we got those players. But there's just not enough intensity for me. There's just not enough demand on each other. And of course, players are on the beach a little bit. I get that. You want to go, it's only a couple of percent. It's only going from. But I also just think, I don't know. You'd expect, usually as a fan, you just expect it, don't you? You just expect. And sometimes it's hard. Maybe sometimes you're 2-0 up and you're coasting and you think this is dead easy. And you can't get yourself up to that level. And maybe subs a little bit earlier would have helped. Maybe. But we really do need to bring in the right mixture of talent and pace and aggression into this squad. Not to get us into Europe or anything, just to get us to the next place. Just to get us that next place, that next level to work off. So, yeah, disappointing afternoon. If you haven't already, check out my Gladys Street reaction. Some really good sights and sounds of the game today. And if it was your last time at Goodison Park, I hope you enjoyed it, regardless of the result. I hope you did. And hopefully the players deliver in the last game of the season, the last game at Goodison Park. Because I'm not really expecting them to deliver too much in the 2 away games. So let's hope they deliver in that game and give Goodison Park, the grand old lady, the send-off that she deserves and us fans deserve. Yeah, we'll wait and see. Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure to check out Baz's videos as well. And I'll catch you all later.